fight everyone wanted to see was Vladimir Klitschko against David Haye. A fight which everybody, both Bernd Bonter, who's in charge of Klitschko, and Adam Booth and David, agree was made. They say it was made. They say it was going to happen, or sometime in April the 30th was agreed, and they couldn't find a TV company, and then they tried to get it in May and June. They couldn't find a venue. Then July 2nd was settled on, and then this fight with Chisora was announced, and Adam Booth quite correctly said, well, hold on a minute, that's only 7 or so weeks after April the 30th. There's no way that Vladimir Klitschko is going to fight us so soon after that fight. He's had 19 world title fights, and the minimum break he's had is about 11 weeks. Suddenly he's going to have 9, and if you include in it a tour, either of America or Europe or Britain, you're going to reduce the time again. So basically David Haye would have had about 7 weeks in training camp, which for a fight like this is never going to happen. Well, let's get to the bottom of it. Let's speak now to Adam Booth, I believe. Adam Booth. Is Adam Booth there? Adam. Have we lost Adam? We had Adam, now we've lost Adam. Have we definitely lost Adam? We're going to try and call Adam back, because the way it works is that this is what the Bernd Bonter, who's in charge of the Klitschkos, he's saying, what he's basically saying is that the fight was agreed for April the 30th. It was fine with RTL. Sky said no, because they think they've got Amir Khan on April the 16th. Sky didn't want 2 pay-per-views in 1 month. Okay, Sky said there's no dates in May or June that work for both. July 2nd worked for both. They were both happy for July 2nd, but Booth was not prepared. Adam was not prepared to let Vladimir fight an interim fight, which I completely agree with. Anyway, Adam is on the line. Adam, are you back?
I'm here, mate. Sorry, I heard you speaking to Frank, so I decided to hang up in disgust.
Oh, listen, he's made the fight from underneath. Adam,
fight of the century. Go on.
Hey, listen, it's a standalone what it is fight. It's not the fight, and I think everyone would agree. Maybe outside of 1 or 2 people, everyone would agree it's not the fight we want to see. The fight we want to see was the fight that I'm led to believe was about to be announced. What went wrong? How did this April the 30th come into it?
April the 30th never came into it for us, but we were going through negotiations. It was painful all the way, and all along the way, Bert Bunter kept saying, let's forget these negotiations, we'll go and do Chisora, you go and do your fight, and we'll speak later on. And he mentioned something about his TV contract and wanting to run that to an end. And all along the way I got the impression that they didn't truly want it, and it seemed as though they kept throwing in obstacles in front of us. Vladimir is demanding the red corner. If you don't agree, forget the conversation. So, David, bit by bit, conceded all of these things that they wanted. 50-50 in Germany. Bearing in mind, remember, in this 50-50 deal, we're probably putting in 3 times more than them with regards to...
Because your pay-per-view.
Exactly. Yeah. But David still said 50-50, fine, just get the fight on. They don't want to come to England, not unless they can't bring their doctor with them. Well, they know full well that they can't bring a doctor with them from Germany to work in a corner over here. So that automatically took England out as a venue. David said, fine, don't worry, make the fight. So all these things we conceded, and then we said May and June. Amir Khan's boxing in April. They said get Sky to move Amir Khan. Now, slightly arrogant on their part, bearing in mind that Amir Khan's got a confirmed fight date, and all we have are negotiations.
Yeah, I'm not going
to go and ask Sky to move Amir Khan, only to turn around to Sky and say, sorry, I haven't got a fight now, can you put Khan back again? I wasn't going to do that. And we said we gave them May and June. So you got 2 months, and they couldn't come up with a venue in 2 months, bearing in mind that they wouldn't come to England, and they never even gave us the opportunity to see if we could find venues in any other
But now what they're saying, Alan, they're saying now, listen, there's not a problem, we'll fight April the 30th. He needs to fight Vladimir. He hasn't fought since about September, and then we'll fight, and I'll ask you this, then we'll fight David on July 2nd, as was agreed, and as Sky have got something for that, RTL fancy that, they fancy that. So just tell me why. I mean, I know why, but tell the listeners, tell me why you won't let Klitschko fight on April the 30th and then agree to fight him on July the 2nd. Tell me why that won't work.
It's not a question of whether we'd allow it. Does Vladimir really think that the WBA are just going to sit around on their thumbs waiting for him to do what he's going to do, ignoring our mandatory challenger until he's gone and had his Chisora fight on April the 30th that he may or may not win because it's still a fight to be had? We have a mandatory obligation. to fight Vladimir, we would have to apply for an extension to the mandatory challenge.
The mandatory being Shagayev, Ruslan Shagayev for Uzbekistan.
Now we can't apply for that until after April the 30th because their fight hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
And then so we apply for it on April the 30th. We still only have 9 weeks until between 2 fights. That's the first.
And what about the tour? What about the promotional tour?
Forget about all the other complexities and forget about the fact that Vladimir only ever boxes once every 6 months.
Yeah.
In 2009 he boxed once in 12 months.
Yeah, he's never had less than, I think I've done it, he's never had less than 12, 13 weeks in all of his
now all of a sudden he's
earliest
going to have 2 fights in 9 weeks.
In 9 weeks. Okay, what about this then, Adam? Loads of people are asking this online because I get a lot of stick for supporting you and David, and they're saying to me, Bunty, asking why he won't fight Vitali. Adam, why won't you fight Vitali?
Vitali has to box at Odlania Fontosolis by the end of March.
And that's ugly. That situation's turning ugly.
Vitali, well, I think my understanding is that Solis wants too much money, and so it goes to purse bids this week. That's my understanding. So it's not the fact that David can't fight Vitali. Vitali can't fight David. And Vladimir won't fight David.
Yeah.
And they still have their same issues with their TV contract. So regardless of all the negotiations that went on over Christmas and New Year, they never once wanted the fight to happen now.
So let me ask you, you said in the back of your mind you weren't sure, but did you ever go back to David, go back to South London, sit down with David and say, Dave, I think this is going to happen? Did you ever, while any point in the last 6 weeks, say, Dave, we're going to fight them? No. In fact, all the way through, I said to him, I don't think he wants it. I don't think they want it. But we did everything we could, and every obstacle they put in front of us, we put it out of the way by conceding to their demands, until eventually their last demand was, we have July the 2nd as a date. We turned around and said, approved. They said, great, we're going to do Chisora. Okay, so what about now? Where do we stand now? Have you and Bomp fallen out again, so you're having to go through third and fourth parties, or are you back talking to each other? Can there still be a fight? Well, there's nothing to talk about at the moment. Vladimir's going to fight Chisora, and David's got to fight potentially his mandatory, which is Chagayev, and we're looking at the end of May for David to box. So nothing will happen in the UK or maybe New York. What, David's next fight? Yeah, David Chagayev. Be the UK. Definitely in the UK. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I tell you what, I can sense disappointment in your voice. There's not a lot of humour and laughter in your voice, and there generally is when we talk about the Klitschkos. Do you feel let down? No. There's a strange irony in the whole thing, and bear in mind, I was involved with it every day, so there was an inevitability that started coming in a long time ago. It's just, I just genuinely, one thing, Steve, I cannot believe that Vladimir is not ashamed of himself, and how Vladimir, for the sake of a few extra quid, won't fight David now. So that they will say that they can't believe David's not ashamed of himself for fighting Audley Harrison. That's what they will say, and that'll be their story tomorrow, and they'll find that'll go back. But Audley was, I'm not defending Audley's performance, but he was still European champion. Yeah. And they're fighting the British champion, which, by my recollection and account, is a stage down from Europeans. So we can chuck arrows across the bow all day long. Oh shoot, they chuck arrows all the time, these people, don't they? But the fact is, Steve, we were there, they didn't want it. And that's the bottom line. No, listen, it's that simple. Oh yeah. Listen, Adam, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Even a downbeat, even a slightly downtrodden Adam Booth. I don't like to hear you like that. I'll get up soon, Steve. I hope so. Listen, we'll give us a snippet on the Shagayev when it comes sometime in May. That's Adam Booth there with his version of what happened. There are several alternative versions, but at the end of the day, when you get it from someone's mouth, that's it. Frank Warren made a fight with Chisora, and Adam just couldn't quite make the fight because he claims, and lots of other people agree with him, that the Germans were not that keen, or the Ukrainians. Now, last year